What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studios Series number 28 Deluxe Class Barricade from the Transformers 2007 movie. And let's go ahead and take a look at Barricade's packaging that he comes in, and right up front you have a picture of Barricade from the 2007 Transformers movie. He is 28 of Studio Series. His name is Barricade. You got a Decepticon logo there. You have a light glaring off the box. Ages 8 and up, Hasbro, Transformers Generations, Takara Tomy on this side. He is number 28 of Studio Series. Nice profile image of Barricade there. He is a deluxe class, of course. On the other side, an image of Barricade zoomed out there. Autobot logo and authentic logos there on the back of the packaging. He is big screen inspired from the Transformers 2007 movie. His name is Barricade from the police chase scene. You have some nice images of Barricade there. Transforms in 20 steps. Barricade launches into a high-speed pursuit. Optics set on username LadyMan217. Sorry, I had to do it. This is a Ford licensed product, Saline licensed product, and you have some more logo stuff going on there. Hasbro backdrop included, we'll take a look at later. On the bottom, we have a barcode, and on the top, Transformers. Before we take a look at the figure itself, it does, of course, include the instruction manual, number 28 of Studio Series, Barricade, Decepticon, Deluxe Class, Transformers Generations 8 and up. Nice picture of Barricade there on the back. Ford, Saline, Takara, and Hasbro. And moving on to the figure itself, here is Barricade in his alt mode, and he is, of course, a Ford Mustang police car, and I love this alt mode. I've always loved this alt mode, and I think they did a pretty good job recreating it in figure form here. Now, this is a very black figure, so hopefully the lighting is going to show everything good, but it might be a little hard to get some details, but we're going to try to take a closer look at them. You can see the front grille here with some nice details. You have the nice bumper there. You do have little silver lights painted on each side. Unfortunately, the headlights aren't painted, which would have been nice, but they did not paint the headlights here on the side. You do have some more detailing here. You have a Decepticon logo there that says police right above it. Police down the side. To punish and enslave, of course, that was a big part of the movie. Instead of protect and serve, we have punish and enslave. 643-911 response. Just some nice decals all down the side. Some nice red taillights. It does say Saline there, which is very nice. And on the other side, you have those same decals all put on the side of the car. The hood has some nice details. You do have your little light bar up here with some reds and blues. 643 up top, police on the back. All the windows are done in this translucent plastic, so you can see his hands in there and whatnot. But overall, it looks pretty good. There's the top. There is the bottom of the figure. The wheels do all roll, so you can roll the figure around very smoothly. And overall, I am pretty happy with the way this alt mode turned out. And as far as accessories go, Barricade just includes one. He includes his spinny Mace of Death, just done in all black plastic here. These pieces are a little rubbery plastic, so you don't have to worry about poking your eye out. This piece can spin all around, which is pretty cool. And you can store this. You're just going to use this piece here, and basically what's going to happen is it's going to slide right up in that slot right there. So you're just going to line that up and slide that all the way in, and now you can have him rolling around with his spinny Mace of Death. For a few quick comparisons, first here is Barricade with Studio Series number 1 Deluxe Class Bumblebee. And you can recreate the scene in the original Transformers movie where they chase each other around, and you can see they do scale very well right here together. Give you a little side shot so you can see how these figures look side by side. Overall, very happy with the way these two look together, and you can really recreate that scene from the movie. And going handheld here for a second, here you have all of the Decepticons from the original 2007 movie so far, and I think the team is shaping up pretty nicely, and can't wait to take a look at Megatron and Bone Crusher later down the line. And with all that being said, I think that's about all there is I have to say about the vehicle mode here for Barricade. Overall, I love this vehicle mode, always have. Think it looks awesome here in figure form. Just wish they would have painted the headlights, perhaps. I think that would have really brought the figure to another level. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and transform Barricade. So the first thing we're going to do is come to this back bumper here, and we're just going to want to detach these pieces. You can see those 2 slots there just go into tabs on each side. So just bring that piece back and out of the way. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to grab this whole side assembly and we're going to extend it out, and it's also going to split in the middle here. So there are little tabs that go under there also. So you're just going to want to split all this down the middle. You can see that tab goes underneath the hood, and just swing all this out. This should untab from the leg. It also tabs into the leg. You can see there is a slot right there that this tab right here will go into. So detach that from the leg also, and just swing this out of the way for now. Once again, just detach this whole section and swing that out of the way for now. And if they haven't done it already, you can go ahead and split the legs. Mine had already done it, but we're going to come down here and work on legs. And it's a real simple transformation for the legs. Basically, all you're doing is bringing these pieces back. You can see there is a little groove that this piece will go into, like so. And then you can straighten the foot out however you wish, and then you just straighten the leg out like that. Now, me personally, I like to do a little bit of a chicken leg going here on Barricade. You don't have to, but I just personally dig the way that looks a little better. So you can do the same thing on the other side here. Just slot that in, bring the foot forward, and just extend the leg out like so. And that is going to be the way the legs are going to look here on Barricade. Now what we're going to want to do is come up here to the top, and this piece will basically detach. You can see this little piece goes in that groove there, and it will also untab from up in here. So just untach. I keep saying untach. I mean detach. I swear I know English. Detach that piece and bring it up. And now we can collapse the backpack. So what you're going to do is extend this piece up, rotate it 180 degrees, and that will rest right there. And you're going to do the same thing with the top section. It will rotate 180 degrees. Now this section sometimes likes to pop off on me, so hopefully it doesn't do that. It didn't. Yay. So just bring that flush down like so, and that is going to be your backpack for Barricade basically right there. And now what you're going to want to do is just extend this whole section up like so, and you see there is a tab there that is going to go into a notch there. Now unfortunately it doesn't really hold tight in my copy. I don't know if that's a QC issue, but for some reason mine does not hold in very tight. But you can see, just bring this down on all these hinges, and that will just angle. It will be at an angle downward like that. And now what you can do with the backpack is basically just slide it up right there. Now what we can do is bring his head up. Go ahead and give him his head right there. And once again, you can see even when I try to bring the legs down, that waist comes undone. But we'll get more into my little nitpick there later. But to finish the chest, you're just going to want to angle these pieces down, and then you can angle them up like so. Do the same thing here. Angle it down and angle it up to give him more of an angled look there on the chest. And now what you can do is you're going to want to extend this whole section up. You can see it is on a double hinge right there. So just extend that whole section up. You can push the window back. And you're going to want to flip his hand out right here and bring this piece up like so. And going into vehicle mode, you want to make sure that his thumb is notched in between these first 2 fingers. But coming back into robot mode, we can of course undo that and open up his hand like so. And we will do the same thing on the other side. Just bring this piece back up like so. Push this window down. Bring the hand out, maybe, come on, there we go. Bring that piece up and bring that thumb out like so. And once you get him all standing up and positioned properly, which mine doesn't seem to want to do for whatever reason, it wants to lean one way, but we'll fix that. And there you have Barricade in his robot mode. And after a pretty enjoyable transformation, if I say so myself, the figure that you get in robot mode here is pretty awesome looking. I do have some minor nitpicks, but I think that in the robot mode, as far as display wise anyways, this figure looks absolutely awesome. But we're going to come in on the head sculpt. You can see the head sculpt there. Looks very nice. You have your black with the red eyes. Very nice silver there on the face along with some gold. Looks very, very good. The black on the body looks very nice. Some silver all throughout. You can see a little dust. I tried to clean this guy off before I did the review, but of course, him being a black figure, the dust kind of does get caught up on him. And that is one of my complaints. He's very black figure-wise. Not many paint details, just a lot of black plastic, which is unfortunate. I would have loved some paint details, especially on these thighs and on these shins, maybe even a little more in the chest there, but overall some silver on the feet. The hands done in this with light gray plastic that doesn't look that great along with that piece, so not loving the way that part looks. But other than that, overall, they got the proportions down pretty well. The backpack is pretty flush, and you do also get these movie accurate color pieces. So overall, it could use some minor improvements, but I think it looks pretty good. But one other thing to mention is I don't like the fact that this doesn't tab in. It's kind of just resting there. That does kind of get annoying sometimes, but overall I think this robot mode turned out pretty well. Now, as far as articulation on Barricade goes here, he can move pretty well. Like I've mentioned in previous reviews, some of these older Studio Series figures were little limited in their articulation, but he does move pretty well. The head is on a ball joint, so it does rotate a full 360. It can look up a little and down a little. It's also on a hinge, so you can hinge it up and down if you really want to. Due to transformation, you can do this because the chest section doesn't lock in, which is very annoying. Nothing at the waist. The arms can do a full 360. They can go in and out. You do get a rotation right there on a mushroom peg. You do get way over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, which is very, very nice. Due to transformation, you have that little bit of thumb pivoting, and you can also move the top fingers in and out just slightly. The legs themselves can kick forward pretty high. They can kick back a decent amount outwards. You can't get too far just due to the way the leg is designed. You do have rotation due to them being on a ball joint. You do have double jointed knee here, so you can bend it here and bend it here, and you can get a nice deep knee bend. And due to the way it's made, you can also have him break his knee if you really want to, and the foot can pivot up and down, but no ankle tilt. So overall, the articulation is decent, but a waist joint and a ankle pivot have become pretty standard with these figures, and that is not included with this guy. And we can, of course, bring in his accessory of death and murdering people with his spinny blade, and we can not store this in the robot mode. There is no storage that is included in the instructions or that I've been able to find, so you have no choice but to let him hold his weapon, which is what I would do anyways. But click this thumb back into where it was for vehicle mode, and you can see that will form a slot there, and that peg will just go right in there. So you can just peg that right in like so, and you can give him a little bend, give him a little pose, and he does look pretty cool with his little blade there. And as you can see, this is a little floppy. I don't know if it was like that when I got it, or if that has become a thing over time, but just something to keep in mind. His joints have got a little floppy here on my copy. And now for some robot mode comparisons with Barricade here. First, here he is with Studio Series number 1, Deluxe Bumblebee. So you can see how the two adversaries from the first Transformers movie look side by side, and I do think in robot mode here they do look pretty good together. As you can tell from past videos and probably even this video, I'm not the biggest fan of the Bumblebee figure, but in robot mode they do both look really good together. Here is Barricade compared to a CG model of himself, so you can see how close they got him to his on-screen counterpart, and see how movie accurate they truly made this figure. And we'll see if we can't bring in the whole squad here. So we just get Blackout back here. Might have to raise up a little bit to get the whole squad in here. Bring Starscream in here. There's Screamer. Put Barricade there. And we're going to put Barricade in the front actually here. We can bring in Brawl. Sit him over here. And then, of course, we can't forget little Scorponok. We can bring him there. And there you have your movie 1 Decepticons thus far. And like I stated earlier, I am excited to take a look at Bone Crusher and Megatron later down the line. But for now, I think the Decepticons are shaping up to be pretty awesome. And moving Barricade out of the way here, the last thing to talk about is, of course, the display base that has sadly been discontinued in the Studio Series line, but they used to be pretty awesome. You can see 28 Studio Series Transformers Generations. You have the scene where he fights Bumblebee in the 07 movie there in the back, and if you want, you can, of course, plop Barricade down right there, and that makes for a pretty awesome display option. So that is my review for the Transformers Studio Series number 28 Deluxe Class Barricade, and overall, I do really enjoy this figure. I like the way it turned out. It takes a lot of hints from the MPM figure, and I think that's pretty awesome. I really do dig the way this guy looks in both vehicle mode and robot mode. I love the vehicle mode. I always have. That Ford Mustang police car is just so sick, such a cool car. Here in robot mode, I think they did a pretty good job showing what we got in the movie. I don't like the light gray plastic used on the hands and there near the elbow area, and I do wish they could have incorporated the accessory, the spinny blade of murder, in a little bit of a better way, because as you can see right here, it doesn't even quite cover the whole hand, so it doesn't even look like it has transformed out of his arm. So I do wish they could have incorporated that a little bit better. Details wise, he could have used a little bit more paint, especially on the thighs and the lower leg. Articulation is pretty good, a little limited though, especially in the waist and on the ankle pivots, which have become quite a standard for Studio Series figures at this point. But this, of course, being an older Studio Series figure, it wasn't quite held to as high of a standard back then. But overall, like I've said, I do really enjoy this figure. One little complaint that I have, really my biggest complaint with this figure that I haven't even mentioned throughout the review, is that he didn't come with a frenzy. That really has just drove me insane. And up to this point now, Core Class has been canceled. I think it seems like Core Class is over, so I don't think we're ever going to get a Frenzy unless he comes with some other figure, because he would have been in the Core Class, I would have thought, but they canceled that line, it seems. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem as of right now that we're ever going to get a Studio Series version of the 2007 Frenzy, which does suck because he was pretty big part of that movie. I mean, he has a lot more screen time than some of the other characters. But overall, the Barricade that we get here, what we get in the box, I do pretty much enjoy to a full extent. But he does have some nitpicks, some minor flaws. So if I had to give Barricade a rating, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I do think he's a pretty good figure, but could use some minor improvements. So that is all I have to say about Barricade. Don't forget to never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. Dark of the Moon Sideswipe is next on our journey through the Studio Series, so I'll see you then, and until then, roll out. Peace!